In this presentation, what we're going to be having a look at is digital marketing and what you need to know about digital marketing to be able to get started so that you can get more leads within your business or whatever your goal is with digital marketing. Now, before we start, the first thing obviously we need to cover is what is digital marketing? Now, marketing is simply all about getting your business and your company out there. So digital marketing is very similar. It's like marketing your business, service, or your idea digitally so that you can get more leads online. Now, when it comes to digital marketing, what most people do is they just jump in and then they just get going with what they think they should do or what they think is the right thing to do. And what happens is it leads to a set of common mistakes. So these common mistakes that I've got listed here are some of the ones that I find that people come across the most when they first start out, okay? So the first one is all about not knowing what actually works, because most people will just go out there and they'll just try loads of different things, but they don't actually know what works. And we'll come back to that in a moment, right? But another common mistake is not doing the right thing with consistency. So one of the main things that you've got to bear in mind is when it comes to doing digital marketing, it's a long-term game in most cases, meaning you've got to do things consistently so that people have the chance to get to know you almost over and over again as you're outputting your message. And the more you do it, the more people obviously get to know who you are, so your digital marketing actually becomes more effective. But most people don't actually do the right thing with consistency. Now, another big one is people try and do everything at the start when it comes to digital marketing. Now, this means everything from trying to look at the latest idea, looking at the latest strategy, looking at every single one of the social media platforms, looking at every single possible thing. And what happens is they lose context and they lose their motivation because they're trying to do everything at the start. And when you're first starting out at anything like digital marketing, it's quite a big, broad thing to take in anyway. So if you're not taking your time and learning things properly and consecutively at the start, and you're trying to do everything at the start, you can become very overwhelmed is the word, okay? And the next thing is a common mistake is a mindset, because you actually need a kind of the right mindset when it comes to the digital marketing, which is all about things can take time. You must put out the right sort of message, and if your mindset's not in the right place, any kind of digital marketing that you're trying to do can be it's not going to be that powerful, because you're not going to do the actions that are required. Because if your mindset is weak, or you're not in the right frame of mind and you're trying to grow your business via digital marketing, you're just going to run into loads of problems because of various different things. So like limiting beliefs, like, does this stuff work? Am I good enough? And all these type of things all form the mindset, and you need to make sure that you have a positive mindset when it comes to doing this. And another thing when people start out is, just to finish off on this list, is that sometimes people think that they need to be really pushy when it comes to digital marketing. So they think that it's all about pushing really hard and becoming very I wouldn't like to say the word salesy, but they just become too pushy in everything. So whenever let's say that if they're doing audio recording via a podcast, or if they're doing a video or just anything, even just as in the written word when it comes to content or advertisements, the tone of voice that people use, because they're desperate for digital marketing to work, it can come across and it almost feels like you're pushing too hard. on prospective clients. But what you need to do is just take it easy and go through this presentation that I'm going to go through now, and maybe you'll pick something up that's going to help you to understand the kind of right mindset and knowing what actually works and how to do things with consistency, right? So one of the things that you've probably realised as I'm talking through the common mistakes is the biggest thing that people feel when they first start out is overwhelm. They come across, like here we've got Homer Simpson, and he's feeling overwhelmed, right? Because there's so much to take on board. There's so many things out there, and it almost feels like the more videos that you watch online, the harder it is to understand how you should go about doing digital marketing, okay? So how do you overcome common mistakes? How do you overcome that overwhelmed sort of feeling when there's loads of things out there? And the simple answer really is you just need a strategy to follow, right? Because without a strategy, what you're actually doing is you are trying to do everything and you don't know what works, and then you're doing the same thing over and over again, and it's consistently bad because what you're putting out there, you don't actually know what works, right? So the thing that a strategy that I'd like to share with you just within this presentation is the kind of mindset that big companies that I've worked for, the sort of approach that they take when it comes to digital marketing. Because rather than, like what you've probably done in the past, or probably what you've done recently, or what you're doing now, where you're probably feeling like, or even if you're new to digital marketing, if you're not sure of how it works, these 6 steps that I call the 6 steps of digital marketing is just a quick thing that I put together where it just shows you a way that you can think about digital marketing when it comes to all or most of the digital channels and platforms that are out there, okay? And if you understand this, it's more of a mindset as well. If you understand these stages, what it's going to do, as you'll find out as we go through each one, is it's going to give you a sense of control, and it's going to give you a sense of like a process, like a system. Because if you just start doing digital marketing and you don't know what works, you don't know what the next step is going to be, and you don't know when to stop doing certain things that you think should work but they don't work, and where to sort of cut your losses with each of your attempts. So this model, we're going to go through each of these stages now one by one, and I'm going to talk to you about each of these stages in more depth, okay? So the first step, as you can see here, is it's all about the goal, and this really is the main thing that you need to take from this presentation, okay? So the first thing is, what is your goal? Like, you really need to be clear and concise on what your goal is, because if you are just sort of starting out with digital marketing and you just start doing things and you don't have a clear goal in your head, you're going to lose that focused power that you need when it comes to digital marketing. So a goal can be anything. So it could be like building, for most people it could be building a website or a following, or it could be to increase sales, or it could be to just get more brand awareness, or the list sort of goes on when it comes to what your goal can be. But you need to be sort of sure, and you'll know, because you just need to ask yourself, why am I doing this? So what is your reason for wanting to go ahead with digital marketing at this time? And that will usually paint a picture of the truth, which is, in your world, it will tell you why you are doing what you're doing, and that will ultimately tell you what your goal is, right? So once you understand what your goal is, and it doesn't have to be your overall goal, it can be just an arm of your business or arm of your existing service or product or website or whatever it is. This goal is just around digital marketing, and you can have multiple goals as well. It's not like the only goal. So what this is going to allow you to do is it's going to allow you to have a focus, and then that's going to give you like a focused approach following this sort of strategy and process that I'm sharing with you. Okay, so once you know what your goal is, the next stage is you need to research around your goal. Now, by this, what I mean is online digital marketing is obviously all about utilizing each of the or some or most of the platforms that are out there. So it could be like Google search, it could be social media marketing, so that could be all of the big players. It could be things like Instagram marketing, it could be Pinterest, Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is, whether it's social media or whether it's Google, sort of via like a search engine or whatever it is. You need to understand what your target audience is searching for, right? And once you start doing research, you'll end up with a sort of list of keywords. And by this, what I mean is, let's say if you've chosen social media as so any of the social media channels that we've talked about just then, if you are using, let's say Facebook, or if you're using Instagram or Pinterest, you need to know what the kind of things get the most search volume, right? And by doing that, you will get a list of like intentful search phrases that people who are using that particular platform are typing in. And by understanding these search terms, you are making a body of research that is going to be relevant and it's going to be congruent with what people are searching for, okay? And all's going to come clear in the next step. But a good way to do this with any of the main sort of platforms out there, so whether it's Google, whether it's social media channels, keyword search and keyword search terms is that the biggest way to understand what people are actually looking for, because each of these platforms obviously will tell you what these keywords are in different ways. So for some of them you might have to log in and start creating an advertisement, but in most cases, to find out what the list of keyword search terms are, you can just start to type things in, and what you'll see is that on the search bar for the main ones, for the main platforms, is that you're going to get a list of keywords or keyword search terms that particular platform recommends for you to type in, basically, because that is all based around what their current users are typing in. And so what this is going to start doing straight away, so because this is the second step, is this strengthens our first step, which was understanding what our goal was. And once we know what our goal is and you research terms around your goal, you start to get a feel for the kind of information that people are looking for around what your research has brought for you, right? So you'll have a body of research like keyword search terms and stuff like that. Now, the next stage is, there's two ways to think about this in sort of basic digital marketing, right? So with this particular model, the third step is action. Okay, so when you've sort of decided that if you are going to be spending money on this, then obviously you're going to be delving into the realms of paid advertising. And so let's say you're going to be going down the paid advertising route. You're obviously going to be creating ads, and you're going to be creating landing pages that are targeted around your goal. And obviously each of these almost like funnels, like, so you've got your advert that's going to lead to your landing page. They've got to meet your goal. So that goal is obviously going to all be around the research that we retrieved from the previous step. And by doing this, what you're doing is, before you start spending money, or when you do start spending a bit of money, by understanding what your research is, what your goal is, your research is going to support that. So you need to, and that research is going to show you what people are actually typing in and looking for. So whatever your goal is, whether you just want to create leads around, potential leads around selling things to them in the long run, you first obviously need to build their trust. And so when it comes to paid advertising, you need to create ads and landing pages, and the landing pages are the area where you pull them in from that advertisement into your own database, right? So that's via a landing page, like an opt-in page, or if you give them something away for free. So that could be something around your goal. So you could be, you could give them a PDF document, or you could give them like a single page report that you've created, or tips or techniques, or things that are popular within that part of the industry, whatever your goal or your chosen topic is. With paid advertising, you must, from the research that you've done, you need to obviously create these ads and landing pages around your goal. Now, on the other side of things is the organic search, or organically. So when you're not obviously paying, if you're sort of starting out and you don't want to actually pay at the start, but you just want to create some form of digital marketing plan around your chosen topic. What you need to do is you need to use the research that you collate from the last step, so the keywords, and you create content that uses these keywords. And the content is obviously showing people what that search term is all about. It's about giving them really great content, and it's like just showing them that you know what you're on about, and just creating useful content that they consume. And what you do with that is then, you've got to take action with this, because once you know what your research is, and if you're going down the paid advertising route, or if you're going down like the organic route, if you're not going to be going down, like if you're not wanting to spend money initially, you've got to create content around your chosen topic. A quick little tip around this is just have a look at the kind of adverts that come up on your chosen platform. So if you're looking on Facebook, or if you're looking on Google or whatever, just have a look at the kind of adverts that come back, and that will give you an idea of what people are actually doing when it comes to creating actual plans that they've actioned, right? And the same goes for organic search. Just have a look at the posts and the web pages that come up around your keywords, and create content that's based around your own keyword research that you've done, and also use content that comes up high in the engines and platforms, because that is showing you what people are looking for, and it's been prioritized by what content that particular platform rates the best for its users. So you get a good idea of the kind of content that you should be creating, whether it's paid or organic. Now, what I recommend is if you're just starting out and you've got no money at all, I would just create loads of research, like tons of research around your chosen topic, right? And that way you'll be able to see what people are typing in from different dynamics. So you know, it's going to give you a rich body of content that you can create. So this research that you're going to do, if you do loads of it, it will give you loads of content that you can create. So you've got this, like, you'll almost have this body of research that you've created from all these search terms, and this is like gold, because you can, without spending any money, you found out what the things that people are looking for, and you can then start to create content around that particular bit of research that you've done. So you might have researched 5 or 6 different areas around your chosen topic, so that you've got 5 or 6 different search terms that are all slightly different, and you just basically create a document, like a Word document or whatever bit of software that you want to use, and you want to try and create like loads of words. Like if you can create 2,000 to 3,000 words, and let's say you've got a blog, that is a serious amount of words to create in a document. But by doing so, you'll have loads of content that you've created, and organically it can list high up if the words that you use are based on keyword research, okay? Because that way you'll get rewarded for putting in effort around what people are looking for. And another tip as well is, if you have a look at, say, the best content that comes up, so if you type in your particular topic in, say, Google, and let's say, or even Facebook, and you get a list of results that you get back, then you want to have a look at what they've done, and you just want to beat it. So like, if they've got 7 ways or 10 ways to do X, Y, or Z, and X, Y, or Z obviously is representative to whatever your niche or your topic is, then you simply just create 21 ways to do X, Y, or Z, okay? And it's things like that, because if you're just starting out, it's almost a numbers game, because the more you put out, the more you're going to get back. And this actionable step is, you constantly just go over number 1 and 2 first, and understand what your goal is, and create research around it, and then create action. So you create content around that particular research that you've done. Or if you've got some kind of budget as well, and you've got a goal in mind that you want people, so if you want to get their email address, for example, you know, in exchange for a PDF document or a free gift, then you want to make sure that you are putting out some, you know, really good content, whether it's paid or organic, okay? So when you start putting content out there through your action plan, so when you start taking action and you start putting things out there, the next thing that you need to do is you need to track what works, okay? And you do this by using the analytics that come with that particular platform. So if you're using Facebook, if you're using Instagram, if you're using Google, use the analytics software that comes with it, because that's going to give you an insight into what, you know, how many views your content gets, how many engagements it gets, and all this sort of things, and the bounce rates and all that sort of stuff. And this is how you understand what kind of works for you, because when you start out, if you don't track what works, then you don't actually know what works, and you don't know what gets you the results, okay? But by understanding your analytics, and you don't, when you're starting out, you don't actually even need to do it on a, you know, on a really in-depth level. You just use things like how many people are coming to the page, or your advert, or your bit of content, and you just look at the analytics, like, are people engaging with it, are people liking it, you know? And the analytics, like the search volume that you get, and the sort of click-through rates, or whatever they are, you know, these for each platform, for Google, Facebook, it's all slightly different, because they have different metrics. But this is where you need to obviously start to learn and understand your chosen platform. So if a good one is Facebook, like Facebook is really a good platform. For example, if you are starting out with digital marketing, or even Instagram, like Instagram is massive at the moment, and what you do is you need to follow the analytics that come with the type of content that you're putting out there. So have a look at what other people are doing, and then actually understand the analytics of your action as well. So when you start putting content out there, you want to make sure that you want to look at the kind of results that you're getting, so the kind of likes and the kind of views that you're getting around your content. Once you start tracking, it's going to put you in a different mindset altogether, because, and this is for me, I think this is where, if you can get this stage, that the tracking stage of your content, or your, whether it's organic or paid, if you can understand the tracking phase, like, so if you can start to adopt this mindset that I need to understand how many people are coming to the page, or, you know, how many sales have I made, and all this sort of stuff, these simple things, Now this is a real shift in mindset, because you're really going to have to sort of apply yourself if you're new to digital marketing as per se, but you need to really sort of get in to knowing what actually works. And once you start doing that, you're going to see the kind of content that works. You're going to see what people like, and once you understand what works, it's amazing, because the things that you think should work in most cases don't actually work. And then you can start understanding how your potential leads actually think, because they're obviously receptive to the kind of content that you're putting out there. So tracking is like the big next step. So after tracking comes adjusting. So once you start understanding how tracking works and you're putting content out there, based on the analytics from the tracking that you've done in your results, you need to start adjusting your output and keep tracking each stage. So for example, on your adverts or your organic content, once you've been doing it for a short while, say a few weeks or even a couple of months or a few months, when you start to look at what people are liking, then you need to obviously adjust your style and your approach. And then you need to, this fifth step, adjusting, is all about maximizing for conversion. And you'll see why this is important as well, because once you can start to adjust your output, it basically means that you are trying to see what actually works best. So once that you know the kind of content and things that are most receptive to your target audience, and you know what sort of works, when you start adjusting things and changing things up, and this is things like the second bullet point says, only adjust one thing at a time. What that means is, when you're trying to do things, so change the headline up a bit and see what difference that gets. Try changing the tone of the article or the video or the podcast even, or whatever it is that you're using as your marketing channel. Just start to try different things. Again, this is almost a bit like tracking. Once you start adjusting different things, you're optimizing what works, because by actually really committing to the step, once you start getting results and tracking that, you basically keep adjusting bits and then have a look at your tracking as well when you start adjusting certain parts of your content, and you'll start to see high optimization rates, meaning you'll get a lot more you'll get a lot more likes, you'll get a lot more shares, you'll get a lot more people looking at your stuff just by trying to adjust your approach. And then it's like an eye-opener again, because when you try different things as well, you'll start to see the things that actually work and the kind of things that your audience is expecting you to put out there, okay? And once you adjust certain things and you start to look at the different tracking results that you get by adjusting, then obviously you're going to have a really highly optimized strategy when it comes to your digital marketing approach. So from where we started off at the beginning of this presentation, we're already at a point where we've looked at what we need to research, we've looked at our goal, we've created our content, we know what works, we've tried mixing a few things up by adjusting it. And these steps are all important, because once you understand what actually works for you, then after that you can start to do one of the most popular things that people like to do, and it's the thing that really is going to sort of make you sort of expand and get big, is you can then start to scale. Okay, and this is exciting, because once you know what type of media and content works best for you, you can start to scale it up. So you can then, you can even outsource your output. So you can, if it's organic content and the kind of stuff that works, then you can create tons and tons of content, right? And what this does is it makes your engagement rates go through the roof. And when you put out regular content, and especially content that you've created through following a strategy like this 6-step digital marketing strategy, it really gives you an approach and a view to, and like a systematic approach to how you can take on digital marketing. So at the beginning of this presentation, it was aimed at giving you a way of approaching digital marketing. So by now, I hope you can see that by following a strategy, there's different obviously strategies that you can follow, but what I found is this type of 6-step digital marketing strategy is the kind of strategy, like this is like the base sort of fundamental style of marketing, digital marketing, that these big companies use. So this sort of strategy that you've learned, this sort of 6-step strategy, is the kind of thing that big marketing departments do, or marketing departments do. And the managers obviously within these departments, what they look to do is they obviously look to see how far people are when it comes to creating new content, putting out new ideas, researching new methods, looking at different angles that they can bring to their goals, and by understanding different goals and all this sort of stuff. So I hope you can see the benefit of this presentation, and I hope that you really like it. So what's next? So that you can really bolt on different things to this presentation, so you can add loads of different steps to each of these ones, but I wanted to keep it simple for you because I wanted you to realize an approach to digital marketing. And if you're still watching, I hope that you've got a lot more ideas, many more ideas, and different things, and even questions. If you've got different kind of questions and ideas than you did at the beginning of this, that's really good, because then you can obviously move to your next stage within your digital marketing journey. But the purpose of this was it was to give you an approach to digital marketing, to give you an understanding of, in the grand scheme of things, what is digital marketing, and how, what are the common mistakes and how you can overcome that. Okay, so by having a strategy in place like this, you can start to action your ideas and actually bring to life your idea, your business, or your service, or your website, or whatever it is, by following a simple strategy like this. Okay, now in closing, you must decide what your goal is. If there's anything more than anything else that I want you to take away from this video, is it's all about understanding what your goal is, because if you can understand what your goal is for your particular wherever you currently are with your digital marketing, it's going to give you the momentum then, because once you understand what your goal is, then you can start to obviously research it, you can start to create content, and you can start to see what works. But if you don't have a goal, if you don't decide on a goal, then anything that you try is not going to work. So go out there, get started on your idea, follow this 6-step strategy, and I hope you get some good results. Now if you have any questions or whatnot, just ask below in the comments below, and I'll be sure to answer them for you, and I'll direct you in the right way that you need to go. But for now, I hope that this presentation has been helpful. I hope it's given you an overall view of what digital marketing is, and how you can approach it, and how you can start it. Okay, because this is pretty much how the big boys and the big companies out there, that the big corporations and stuff, it's strategies like this that they utilize to get out there and to create successful campaigns. Now there's going to be a lot that you add to the way that you obviously create your digital marketing, but this presentation was all about just giving you an overview of how digital marketing works. So if you've got any more questions or comments or whatnot, just enter them below the video, and I'll be sure to answer them. So for now,